How's it going, people? Welcome to this edition of the Locker Room Radio on Top Six Fan TV, packed house. As you can see, fantastic banter in front of us, and like I mentioned, a full house. Full house. We have Kevo. Say what's up.
Hi everyone, thanks Matthew for having me here. Let's have ourselves a good show.
I'll also ask Bonnie, first time Manchester City fan, to say, what's up? Welcome to the show, Bonnie.
Hey everyone, thank you for catching us out. Yeah, enjoy.
Brilliant. And we have straight from Anfield, Mr. Jonah. And Jonah, as usual, Liverpool fan. Welcome to the show. And he's joined by David, his bro. I'm not sure. David, what club do you say you support again? Must be United, Jama.
Nah. Gunners.
Oh, Gunners, man. Yeah. Out. We guys, City and Liverpool. I don't know what's going on. We've been outnumbered today. But yeah, looking forward to the discussion here. Great banter. And we will get right into it after this. Brilliant. And welcome again. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. And if it's the first time tuning into the show, feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Feel free to also share the video, share the link wherever you're watching out from on YouTube or Twitter. And you are most welcome. Of the discussion, gentlemen, with a preview, or rather, a review of the results in the top four race coming out of the previous week, and it was just some shocks there. Of course, the teams coming out of an international break, and it was a bit tight in there. And the weekend kicked off with a draw. Man United drawing 1-1. 1-1 there. Chelsea losing 4-1, I believe it was, and then the Arsenal also losing. And I'll kick off with Kevin. What was your view about that game, the last result, especially on Monday night? Arsenal losing to Crystal Palace 3-0, resounding loss. How badly does that damage Arsenal's chances in the race for Champions League?
Arsenal, this game was, I believe, supposed to, at worst case scenario, should have been a draw for us in our race for top four. This loss really dented it because Spurs, who we fight with a lot for this sport, have, I believe, an easier run in. And having everyone else drop points over the weekend, Man U having drawn, Chelsea having been beaten, I thought the impetus was on us to go and get the result. But you could see from kickoff, you could tell when Arsenal is going to do badly from kickoff. And from kickoff, we were not doing well. Credit to Vieira and his boys. They knew their assignment, and they truly deserved the win on the night. So I believe this was a major setback for Arsenal. Though we still have 8 games to go, so we wait and see what happens going forward.
Brilliant. Johnny, I know you're an outsider, of course, looking in at that top four race, but do you believe, of course, following the results from the other games, Chelsea dropping points, also losing, almost being sucked into it, and, of course, Man United drawing, and most importantly, a very resounding Spurs, picking up on Burnley was 5 goals there, and looking sharp. Who do you tip in the race for top four, and who do you think was the winner out of that weekend of results?
I mean, via the weekend, it's hard to call because Arsenal came in with a game in hand, and they should have had the advantage. Though it's not Palace is not a team you go there playing and you think you're going to win because these are the only team that have stopped City twice in the same season. Guerra is doing very well. But that being said, the top four call is hard. It's hard to call right now. The points are very, very close for everyone, and it's hard to call. I don't know, David. You have something to say? Yeah. As an Arsenal fan, that that game was really hard to watch. It was really painful. But there's a certain thing that Arteta is doing that makes you believe in know what Arsenal is doing. But going back to what the actual loss means is that you see what the international break does. It displaces the momentum of the football teams, and because of that momentum, certain teams when they come back into the fold, they get disorganized. So like I think Chelsea have a record after international break. They have lost I think their last three games after the national break. I don't know if I'm correct about that, but there's certain statistic about that. And because of that momentum, you lose that momentum when you come back into them. So for me as an Arsenal fan, it didn't affect me too much that the fact that we lost, and I think it's just the momentum. And I think that this next game is what proves what's actually going on. If that game we lose that
Who are you
game,
playing next?
we are playing
Brighton.
Who's that Liverpool?
Brighton. And Brighton's a hard game for us.
That's a draw.
So-
That's a draw.
Yeah, so if we lose that game, or if there's something there, but even the Arsenal loss, I know I'm dragging on a bit, but this Arsenal loss, it made even a player like Tavares, the young left back who replaced Tierney, it made him look bad, and Tavares hasn't looked bad, but that game made him look
Against
bad
us, he was bad.
because of that hangover. And I think once that momentum comes back, it's going to change things, and that's what I can say. There's that momentum shift that comes in there because of the international break.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you certainly would argue that Tavares did not have a rosy game, and hence Arteta pulling him off or hooking him off at halftime definitely does not help his confidence as well as a left back standing in, especially in light of, for me, the two significant setbacks out of that game for the Arsenal, not even being the result. Result obviously denting, but the fact that we lost two of our arguably most important players to injury in that game, Thomas Partey and Tierney got injured before the game, but Tierney international break injured out of it, Partey out of it, and the team was already looking shaky without Tierney there on the left back. For me, those two injuries are the most significant hit to the Arsenal, and it's going to really be a test of Mikel Arteta and how far he has come as a manager to see how he can grind out results, especially in the big games to come. Bonnie, I'll just pull you in as a Man City fan, but by the way, Bonnie, just let being of course the first Manchester City fan to ever grace the show, you are most welcome. But kindly tell us how long have you been supporting Manchester City, and which club were you supporting before that, man?
Well, I actually started supporting City in 2011.
Yes.
Previously, I was an Arsenal fan, but I didn't like the football Arsenal was playing by then. That's why I shifted.
That is rather well uninspiring, but hopefully you won't move from Manchester City when they start playing poor football.
No, I won't. I won't.
As a concerned alumni of the Arsenal Football Club, what were your thoughts on the result? Arsenal losing, and obviously the impact on the top four race. Chelsea also losing, Spurs winning very resoundingly, and looking quite good, to be honest. What was your view on that, and generally your take on the top four race? Who do you think is going to qualify and win the top four?
Well, I think Arsenal actually misused the chance, I can say, because they had a chance actually game in hand. That would be a good chance for them to push closer, maybe to number 3 or something like that. But them losing is putting much more pressure on themselves. Now they have too much pressure because Spurs is in a good form, very good form. So I think Spurs will qualify for Champions League.
Spurs. Very, very interesting. I don't know, Jonah, what's your take on that? On the Spurs side, I didn't get who your prediction was for top 4. Who do you think is going to take it? Because let's not forget, United is also still in it. United is also
Okay.
still in it. So,
Let me give you my top 4. And although I think Matthew in a previous episode we did do a top 4 prediction, and I don't remember what I said that time, but let me now not mention the first 2. Let me mention the second 2. My second 2, I'm thinking it's going to be Chelsea and Arsenal.
Chelsea and Arsenal. Okay, interesting. David?
There's a bit of bias there, of course. So I will say Arsenal is one of them. And definitely Chelsea. Chelsea had a good head start, and it will take a lot for them to lose what they already had. To fall out of that top 4, that would be a catastrophe. So it has to be Chelsea and Arsenal. If there's an outlier, maybe Spurs. I don't think United have it in them too. Nah, United are not making it 100%. They're not. Yeah.
United are done, eh? Well, just one result shook Arsenal this weekend, and before that, they were absolute favorites. So you just never know. You never know how things will. Happen. So anyway, let's wait and see. But I'd like to turn the attention to the discussion around Spurs. We have discussed the Arsenal, but Bonnie, how impressed are you with what Spurs are doing, the way they are playing, and especially how Antonio Conte has been able to turn them around despite their inconsistencies?
Pardon?
Yeah, so I was just saying, how impressed are you with Spurs and how they're playing and how the manager has been able to manage them?
Well, I think Conte has surely adopted so much with the Spurs team because he's bringing out more talent from different players. We're seeing new scorers. I can give an example of last week. New scorers came on board. We were used of Harry Kane, Son, but we saw different people scoring, some defenders, some midfielders, which is something good. I think he's managing them so well. Yep.
Brilliant. Kevin, your take on that? Is Conte just, do you think he's adding anything special to Spurs, or are they just going to be Spurs and somehow a few games down the road, record a few losses and get back to the inconsistencies?
It's Conte. It's all Conte. This team, pretty much, apart from the few signings they made in January, it's basically the same team. They let go of some guys. He bought some few guys in, and we thought they were still not enough. But whoever has bought has been right on. The team is solidified defensively. They don't concede so much. And they seem to have turned a corner. They are now winning the games convincingly. The trouble I have with comparing to Arsenal is that, you see, Arteta left himself threadbare. He sold all the guys he didn't want in the team, which you can't blame him from. Those were guys who were not adding much. But then he failed to replace them. The squad is threadbare. You can see now we have lost Partey and Tierney, and now we're wondering if the replacements can make do. Tottenham, on the other hand, looks okay. Obviously, if they lose someone like Harry Kane, it would be a great loss. But you can see their squad seems a bit better to me, equipped to cater for injuries. So that, together with Conte, who has a lot of coaching pedigree for me, has really swung the pendulum their way. And I think you cannot doubt the man. If he does stay, then I think Spurs will be a force next season. But it's Conte really who has done all this. Credit Tottenham, they have really done well. as an Arsenal fan, we're just praying for blips and around the corner, a few draws here, maybe losses, but ideally, they're playing very well. You cannot discredit them. They're doing very well.
Brilliant, brilliant. And finally, Jonah and David, your take on Spurs and influence of Conte in keeping them in the top four race.
Personally, for me, Spurs are very hot and cold, and I don't watch many of their games. I watch a few of them since Conte came in, but obviously I'm invested because of fantasy. I recently got Kane into my team because he's doing things. He's doing things, and when you watch him play, Harry Kane has evolved his game. He drops deep. He creates. He's a very different player. But Spurs are hot and cold. You can never know who they're going to win and who they're going to lose to.
Yeah.
They won Man City, but then they lost to the next guy. You can never know what they're going to do. They remind me of Liverpool of the early days. That being said, as an analogy, I think it's very unfortunate that Conte won't be there for long. If he was there for long, Spurs would probably become something. That's really my take on it. I think they're an exciting team to watch, going through an exciting phase, but because Conte won't be there for long, it won't matter.
Great, 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 great. Well, I think that's it. We're going to move on from Spurs. Conte, there you see his passion. In my view, not only his influence as a manager and his experience, but I believe his passion is quite infectious and will inject some steam into the boys at Spurs. Whether it's enough to get them across the line to top four, we certainly will wait and see. But looking at the remaining fixtures, gentlemen, this is how it's looking for the top two front runners, because I do believe you gentlemen all ruled Manchester United out. They basically won't have enough. But look at that fixture list, the running and the games left. Spurs currently in fourth place, 30 games played, 54 points, and that 5-0 win there, doing a good bit of good to their goal difference. So they're plus 15. Arsenal in fifth place currently, a game less, 29 played 29 games, 54 points, 11 points with the goal difference of plus 10. So that's 5 behind. And look at that running. For me, looking at the two teams, I would say Arsenal have a tougher running, the next few games, which they have to win now. Brighton this weekend, then Southampton next, and then they're going to a crunch 3 games away to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, then welcoming Manchester United to the Emirates before going to West Ham. And then after that, a game against Leeds, who will probably be not yet out of the woods with regards to relegation. So that could potentially be a tricky game with Jesse Marsh now in charge after Marcelo Bielsa departed. And then we have the big game, the London Derby, Arsenal going away to Spurs, third last game of the season, and then Arsenal finishing their games with Newcastle,
Everton.
and then Everton, the last game. Everton, of course, involved in a relegation fight. So for Arsenal's sake, we do hope by that time Frank Lampard has managed to steer them to safety. Otherwise, it will be a crunch game. Spurs, on the other hand, um, going to Aston Villa this weekend, and we'll be keeping a close eye on that before going away. Welcoming Brighton to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Then they have Brentford, who actually did very well against Chelsea, and then they have a little bit of a tricky game against Leicester City, who actually drew with Manchester United last weekend. And then they have, after that, they have to go to Anfield, and then the London Derby, and then Burnley, and finally finishing off the season with Norwich. So Spurs seemingly having an easier run, so to speak, but still some potential banana skins there. North London Derby, the game against Liverpool, and potentially games against Aston Villa this weekend and Leicester City. So still all to play for, I think, and this is not done, certainly not done, and we'll wait to see how it goes. And the outsiders here, David De Gea, of course, for most of the last I don't know what 15 years being the only guy, David De Gea there, being the only guy who has kept Manchester United afloat. So I don't know, Jonah, do you feel Manchester United are totally out of it? No chance at all?
Yeah, to be honest, United are kind of in the same boat as Spurs. They're hot and cold, very hot and cold. Their mind is not in it. They're thinking about who is our next coach. The whole of today on Twitter, Ten Hag was trending, and Ten Hag already has his opinions, and some of those opinions are already in the mainstream media, and obviously we know all the biggest pundits in football are United former players. So there's too much of that. There's too much of that. There's too much. United is not a normal club. Let's be honest. And that being said, I think it's going to factor into the breakdown of of how their season is going to go. Because they're not chasing any trophy right now. Their only trophy is top four. And they're always affected by outside opinions. Outside opinions even make them sign players they don't need to sign. But that's a topic for another day, Matthew. I'm gonna leave it.
United as well.
If I could add to that, yeah.
Yeah, David, right.
This game against Everton, this is the best game that United could get because Everton are a struggling club. Like Everton are a club that have been in the Premier League like not dominant force, but ever present. But it's just they're in. They made a blunder with Benitez. Now they're trying something with Lampard, and it hasn't really worked out. And they are at the lowest of. I think if you could look at the form table right now, I think Everton are right at the bottom. And I think that if United could get any club right now, they could pick Everton. And I think there's something to. So some of us, like we come from that generation of, United were a force, so we still believe that we need to watch the United game. But I think this is the game that United could win, and I think it could paper over the cracks. And I think at the end of the season, United will get a Europa League something, best case, and I think it will. I think the United project is a big project that we could discuss about the United project 3 hours. We could not figure out a way around it. I think it's just something that's going to take ages. But I think right now they just need to get through the season, figure out how do we not be out of Europe. And I think this game is a cut and dry. If United lose this game, then they're really it's impossible. It's a done deal for them. But Matthew, we really need that episode of Kajina and what's his Nate.
Nate,
and even that the image you have there with Bruno and Ronaldo quarreling, that's Nate and Kajina. We need that episode, Matthew. That will be the biggest episode. The United episode. We don't talk about anything else.
Let me just read out some comments coming in from the fans watching currently. CTID saying that without De Gea, United would be so low in the table, and
that's
of course, resonating with what we had said, lower than Spurs. Moses Matovu coming in here with a comment saying, despite Arsenal's game in hand, Spurs has a favorable run-up to fourth spot. And, of course, going on again to say that Man United is no longer in the discussion for top four, but top six. Very interesting. UEFA conference there. Shades. So United, of course, being very close to appointing a successor to this man, Ralph Rangnick, Eric Ten Hag, the Ajax manager, who I think will be a good addition to the United establishment. I think will be good if they can confirm him. That would be fantastic, and we'll wait to see. But they do need time, as we have seen, not only at Arsenal, but also at, with Liverpool. We saw it with Klopp. We saw it at Man City with Guardiola. He didn't come in all guns blazing and pulling up trees in his first season. So it does take time to become the juggernaut that those top two have become. So, yeah, we will wait to see what happens with that. Chelsea, gentlemen, rounding off the top four discussion around, around the Premier League, and Chelsea losing resoundingly to Brentford. Some would call that a blip or a flash in the pan by Brentford. But I mean, that game, how surprising was that, Kevin, of a result for you there at Stamford Bridge? 4-1 to Brentford. It ended. Bigger opening and scoring for Chelsea, but Brentford scored 4 goals. What happened to Chelsea, and does this, despite Arsenal losing, does this still leave them on shaky ground to the Champions League places, because they could be pulled into the top four?
Bro.
And you know, I hear you. You don't believe Chelsea can be pulled in?
No, I think
First, you can make it fun with you.
no, I think Chelsea missed the chance of being robbed in by Arsenal losing last weekend. Had Arsenal won that game, I think there could have been a chance. There could have been a chance. Chelsea did most of the hard work early in the season, and they must thank God for that, because they have lost on the trot, if I'm not mistaken, after the international break. There's something not correct. And the coach, I watched his press conference after they lost to Madrid in the UCL. And he said something to the effect of he's not sure what is going on, as in they asked him something about what could be causing the losses and so forth. And he seemed dumbfounded. He doesn't know what the problem is. It's just like, we're not there. And the one manner in which they lost to Madrid, for example, guys just switching off. That game, they were in it, but there is something not correct at Chelsea. But I believe they did enough to guarantee their top four status. I don't think they will slide out. Their running is not so bad. They are very winnable games. Brentford came to town just like Palace showed against Arsenal, and were just up for the game. They were very eager. Wemo and these people were just battered Chelsea. But I think they have enough. They have a tricky game this weekend to Southampton. Southampton is also, just like Jonah said, like Spurs and United. You cannot know which Southampton shows up. On the day they can come and beat you properly, 3-0. Another day they will ship in 5. So I don't even know what to expect from this game. But on paper, Chelsea should win it against Southampton. But we don't know. Chelsea now, it's hard to tell until I think after this weekend if they are back on the wagon or if the rails are off. But it's that last game for last weekend was a shock. Brentford 4, I didn't see that coming at the Bridge, moreover, of all places. But let's wait and see. This Southampton game will be very interesting to see if Chelsea is back, can they get back on the wagon, or if they, But if they lose, if they do lose, then you might say they are slipping into this whole top 4 thing. But I think they did enough already to secure their third spot.
All right, interesting enough. And another comment coming in here from Kevin Michael, who says United ain't about to recover soon to its Ferguson era. Not even with a new coach. The dismal results on the turf are a reflection of deep-seated structural problems at Old Trafford. And obviously United fans will concur with that statement there. And what needs to happen for United to get back. But obviously, new man at the top there and a new coach coming in the summer. So it could be a few years of change at United. And we will move on to the discussion that dominated headlines last week and a couple of weeks before that. The game of this last 4 months of the Premier League is finally here, ladies and gentlemen. It is crunch time this weekend. Manchester City welcoming Liverpool to the Etihad, and with the Premier League table looking interesting. Separated by just 1 point. Manchester City on top, 30 games played to 73 points. Liverpool second, 30 games played, goal difference of 54 and 70 points. It's definitely going to be a cracker this game. And I'll start with Bonnie. What is your prediction for this game? Or rather, I'll ask predictions at the end. But how do you think this game is going to come out? Do you believe City have it in them to get a result? Yeah, looks like Bonnie is Bonnie has gone frozen for
Again,
now. We'll give him some
I
time.
actually lost you a bit. Huh?
Right. Go ahead. How do you think Manchester City is going to perform in this game against Liverpool?
We are winning the game.
Why?
It's going to be a tight one. But why I think we're winning is one of our playmakers is on his top form. That's Kevin De Bruyne. If we're to look at the attacking, Foden is on form. Sterling is on form. Is assisting so much. So the only worry could be with the defense, but I think Kyle Walker might be back this weekend, which is also something good. So our defense is, I can say, it's also good. Yeah, despite the injury we have of of Diaz, I believe we can cope up and win the game this weekend.
Brilliant. Very positive vibes there coming in from Bonnie. I'm sure Johnny has something else to say about that game. Johnny, Jonah, what's your take on that game? What do you see as a result coming out of it? Remember, Liverpool are away at the Etihad, so it's not so straightforward. Yeah, so Jonah, what's your take on the game?
Matthew, I saw a start recently. We haven't won at the Etihad in 10 games. Like, surprisingly, if there's any team that has taken points from Pep Guardiola in the last, I don't know how many seasons, it's Liverpool. Not even just Pep. Even that zombie guy, then Mancini. What's the zombie guy's name? Pellegrini, Mancini. Liverpool. But when it comes to Etihad, we have a problem. And I was recently watching an interview with Michael Richards. He was so scared to call out what his prediction is. And Jamie Redknapp said, "Are you scared to jinx it? Because when you have a record, it can easily break." So I think we're going in, the onus is on them to win. Obviously, we also have something to win there. And I think whoever wins this game, it will determine the race. Because whoever wins will be like, now I'm done. I'm not going to lose. The race is done. But I think City are under more pressure than us right now. They're on top by 1 point. It's their home. They have to prove a point. They're going to attack us like a problem, Matthew. They're going to attack us. And I want to see old school club, rock and roll football. I want to see that. I want to have a good game. I feel you're vibrating. What do you want to say? Yeah. I think if this game, we are seeing something really special right now. With Liverpool and Man City. They are really, really exceptional teams right now. They are really, really, really good. And I think if this hadn't been these two teams right now, I think we'd have seen a different game. I think we'd have seen, imagine if this was back in the day, Chelsea or Mourinho versus Ferguson of Man U. This would have been a game of measuredness. We want to have a draw.
Yes, KG.
But because these are two teams which like to go for it, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think most likely it's going to be a draw. And maybe that's me as a neutral. I want to see something like that. I would not like to see one team dominating the other. I don't like to see that. But I think it's going to most likely be a draw. I think these two teams are giving us something special. And I think because of the type of teams that they are, we're going to see a good game. And we're going to be entertained by that. So your prediction? 2-2. Mine is 2-1. 2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool, 2-2 there. Kevin,
3-1.
Kevin, bring you in. We have a bit of a comment here coming in. I'd like to get that out of the way. Hold on. Aubrey Agaba saying commenting and saying it's really hard to predict this fixture amidst the circumstances. As a United fan, I want City to win the game. Wow, and win the league. But it's it's really a tight one. How hard the United fans have fallen. I mean, United fans supporting the next neighbor. I didn't think I would see that ever come. But of course, United worry of Liverpool equaling the Premier League title record because that's also up for grabs, bragging rights there. And of course, you would tip Liverpool to win, the next one again over United in the current state. But let's wait and see. Kevin, moving into that discussion, we have seen Bonnie thinks City are going to win. Jonah thinks Liverpool are going to win. David thinks it's going to be a draw. What's your take on that match? How will it pan out? End-to-end attacking football, a cagey game, or are we going to see? Basically, what are we going to see in that game?
This game is hard to call for two reasons. Mainly because, like the Jonas have said, this is arguably two special teams, maybe the best in Europe, and playing the football of their lives. So it's hard to call. But then the other thing also that really determines this game is Pep Guardiola. Pep has this tendency to overthink these big games. He does it a lot. He gets the big game and then he starts tinkering his squad, playing holding midfielders. We saw him doing it in the UCL final last year. Then there's when he has no striker, which he has done this whole season. But doing funny things, playing Sterling out of position or playing Foden, out of position, and you're like, what are you doing, Pep? As in, do the things you've been doing all season, and let's have ourselves a good encounter. So I think we shall get to know, depending on what Pep puts as his first lineup, and then how they kick off the games, when we shall get a clear picture of what to expect. But offhead, if he does the normal things, if Pep does what I expect him to do, which is just play a best 11.
Yeah, there we go. We lost Kevin there.
What you've been doing best. Yeah. I think being at home, they should then. Sorry for that.
Go ahead.
I was saying that gives me the City should win this then. Maybe 2-1 is my prediction. That's if City, like I said, if Pep does the normal things. If he does what he's supposed to do, then I think City win this one 2-1.
Well, Pep is Pep, as stubborn as hell, and we have a little bit of his stubbornness flowing in North London at the Arsenal as well through his protege, and we have seen that, as you say, Pep Guardiola does quite a bit of tinkering, and we'll wait to see what happens out of that. But Kevin, before we go, and we are coming to the end of the show, I will ask you to give a picture. What's your prediction? You didn't give us a straight prediction.
Mine?
Yeah.
My prediction is I said 2-1 to City. 2-1.
City. 2-1 to City. Brilliant. My prediction is going to be 2-2. I believe it will be a high-scoring draw. And for me, that will just give City the edge to race to the title. But if Liverpool do win, I think if Liverpool is to win the title, in my view, I believe that they need to win this game. They cannot afford to drop points here. And looking at the run-in, the last few games for these two teams, the fixtures in the Premier League, Manchester City, after the game this weekend, will have Wolves, then they will have Brighton, then Watford, then Leeds, then Newcastle, then West Ham, and then finally the last game of the season at home to Aston Villa, which looks like a favorable race. And then Liverpool do have a little bit of an interesting race. They have a few skins in there. They will have in the Premier League. Guess who? Manchester United next, coming to Anfield. Then they have Everton in the Merseyside Derby. Everton, of course, are fighting relegation. Then they have Newcastle. Then they welcome Spurs to Anfield, which is also another interesting game. Then they have Aston Villa, then Southampton, and they finish the season at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. So starting looking like an interesting running, and we will wait to see what happens. Exciting weekend beckons, ladies and gentlemen. And I will say we are going to end the show right here. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Jonah, David, it's been a pleasure. Kevin, as always, a pleasure. And of course, a man who dropped off, the Manchester City fan. We'll be good to have him back on the show. But that's it for now, and we will be back next time. Looking forward to a fantastic weekend. Thank you for watching. Those who have joined, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share the link as widely and as widely as you can. Have a fantastic weekend. Cheers.
You too.